Hey, I just wanted to talk about something that I don't think a lot of people are talking about, really. And it has to do with the spread of this new disease that is just overtaking the world. And as far as that goes, I know that there's a lot of people talking about, say, like the ALF, fortunately, and you know, animal liberation, um, and that's great, you know. But I don't think that a lot of a lot of people in the in the media are really talking about it, you know. And I guess like in a lot of ways it makes sense. Like they don't really think it's like that much of a concern. But as far as things go, I just break it down to like what the initial source of this disease was, as reported by the media. They're not really like concerned about like what the actual reasons behind it were, other than the fact that it was spread through somebody chopping up a bat, which was a horrible thing, and getting the blood on their face and wiping their face with it, which is so disgusting. But as far as any animal rights issues go, I don't think any of these people a lot of stuff that you'll find in even in NPR, they're not talking about that, which as um, the initial cause would be, um, and the fact that it was an innocent creature that was murdered, and the reason being that this disease is spreading all over this country and the rest of the world, and that all these countries are being shut down, like Italy, Switzerland, and just a lot of countries in the EU and the UK, is because an animal was murdered, and that's the resultant factor of why this disease spread in the first place initially. The the reasoning behind it was the abuse of animals, and the animals, like the whole entire extreme of their existence is that they are starting to strike back in some form or another, biologically, biochemically, and through the abuse of animals. It's starting to come down to the wire. I think that if people would look deeper into the surface, like on a biochemical bioengineering viewpoint, they'd realize that if we're gonna, if people, not us, well, we're part of the human race, but if people are gonna keep experimenting on animals and abusing animals um, through entropy somehow or another, um, and through just a schism of some form or another that goes deeper into the underlying strains of human existence. There's going to be some kind of response from the animal world, and it's not going to be as easy as just oh yeah, some guy killed a bat and wiped some blood on his face. I mean, that might be one of the causes, but it goes deeper into the endemic surface of all of our connections as human beings and animals, um, being part of the animal kingdom. Um, and obviously something like this is going to happen eventually if people keep like abusing animals and tinkering with animals and bats. Like that's like one of the last straws. Like and their Gina or their Gina like structure and formulae is gonna strike back eventually. Not just with bats, but with birds, all the animals. There, it goes like into like a molecular level that reaches us all like through like a chemical imbalance within the very structure of our existence, and we uh, we need to stay safe of it. Just keep as much of a distance away from the spread as possible. And yeah, it's a real thing. I mean, it goes deeper than just the surface. Obviously, we have to like avoid people that have this virus. Um, and I think the best way to stay safe is just to self isolate. And the thing is that I can still see like even in self isolation, like I've been trying to stay as clean as I possibly can, like spraying everything down, wiping everything down constantly, like having to wash my hands, you know. Obviously, brushing my teeth, um, just keeping it as clean as possible. Um, but as far as self isolation goes, I can see like because I'm extremely sensitive. Not that I've been exposed to the disease, but I can see that the disease is still out there in the certain structures and substructures of our existence. Like when I'm cleaning things, I can see like certain like certain compounds of a disease that is not necessarily the disease itself. Like I haven't been exposed to it, but I could see like a certain like formulae or a structure of the disease trying to break through, and I'm not letting it break through. It's just in like the dirt that I see when I'm cleaning, certain like structures of like this like disease that like wants to break through. So I know that it's in a certain like structure or formulae of our existence that has gotten beyond just like I don't want to say human control, but it's just like the animals are the whole entire like not just like the big animals like bats and birds, but the animals that exist like on a molecular level are starting to be affected, and we have to be really careful because there are animals that exist on that level, that you can see under a microscope, and it's like if somebody has tampered with the bat and they're blaming the bat on it, it's a lot more than just the bat. It's all the different like chemical elements in the bat's blood. I mean, like studied chemistry or looked under a microscope, you know that like disease spreads like really fast, and it exists on a lot more than just like a local level. Like it exists like on a way deeper level than like we can like even like begin to comprehend, as far as people even know about the existence of like what lies out in space. So yeah, I know it's out there, and we just have to keep ourselves healthy and clean, and and just like realize that like when that person tampered with that bat, that was not a joke. That was serious business. I mean, that was serious, you know. That represented something that like underlied like one of the major uh, disease factors of our entire human existence. It's breaking down like the human like form and like composure of like everything like on a level that is so hard to comprehend. But I think that like not people like Donald Trump and even Joe Biden are able to comprehend because they're trying to simplify things so much. I think that Bernie Sanders is doing a good job because he's really like making good points, like real points that extend beyond just like using like simple commercialism, which all these other electorates or constituents or like representatives of the U.S. government are trying to use and like think that will work. And the kind of things that got Trump into power was just like this mass archaic destructive commercialism. So yeah, I think the best way to stay safe is just stay away from eating animals because that disease like can come from the blood and the tissue of any animal that's not only been affected, but it exists like beyond just the surface of like what people can call exposure in the animal kingdom. They're as the planet is breaking down, their molecular structure is breaking down and becoming a sickness or a disease that is affecting humans, and it's a lot worse than people say or are saying, and that's why I'm mentioning this now. You know, as far as like representing the ALF, I think that like I'm not saying that like sterility is the cure, but just to know, you know, like got to stay away from like hurting other creatures and other animals, or you know, like they're already starting to fight back, you know, and like it's happening now and it has been happening for so long, you know, and in the last few months, like this is like one of the last stands, you know, that like the microbial existence of the animal kingdom is striking back, and we got to be really careful.